Good morning. It's another warm, humid day in New York City, but it's nothing compared to what's happening in the Southwest. And at least I can attest to the fact that the fires in Canada must not be burning as much as before because our weather is not recording unhealthy air. And that's a good thing. And like many of you, I don't know, starting in your 60s and up, I've just had cataract surgery. I'm 1 week out after having had my right eye procedure with a laser. I chose that laser. Less invasive, less time to recover. And though I didn't realize I had cataracts, after the surgery, the change was dramatic. I always saw color, but now I saw it distinctly. And it's so beautiful. Our world is so beautiful. I have lovely things in my apartment that I've accumulated over my lifetime. And now I see them as they really are. I am so pleased with the procedure that I'm doing the left eye next Wednesday. So you'll hear a lot from me this week on cataract surgery. And I know many of you who have had it have said the worst part is the drops. Well, I quite agree. For me, it's like, here comes bomber 1 and here's bomber 2 5 minutes later, and I've got the tissue ready because 2 out of 3 get in, if I'm lucky. Most of the time, it's dripping down my face. And then I have to start all over again, and there I am, wasting drops. The other thing for me, which was really not a deal breaker, but was interesting, I've been putting on eye makeup and regular makeup all my life, probably since I'm 12. And now I can't put on eye makeup probably for a month. 2 weeks on this eye, and then 2 weeks on this eye. I'm getting used to it, and I hope you will too. And I'd like to share with you the chart of drops. And anyone can ask me for a copy because I think my ophthalmologist is wonderful. He's got a chart for us to fill out, making the drops easy. So I'm going to share it with you, and you can look at it, and I hope you can see it. And if you'd like a copy of the drops, certainly send me a line at thevoiceofjoyce@earthling.net. I'm happy to share. And all I can say is, it's not the number of drops you have to do, it's getting them into the eye. And that's problematic, but doable. So, on to climate. The fossil fuel industry has always said that the cost of doing business with them outweighs what's happening to the environment, to people, to our lifestyle. To use fossil fuels was cheaper than to go renewables. Well, the pendulum has now swung, and it has swung in a tremendous arc all over our globe. It is no longer cheaper to use fossil fuels. They found that there are higher levels of petroleum products and derivatives, even in women's breast milk. So, that's one reason to eschew fossil fuels. The carbon emissions and methane emissions are causing severe drought all over the world, forest fires from Canada to the Middle East through Greece. They're causing floods that make whatever water is now created toxic, because you've got all the chemicals that are being used in the fields that are now encapsulated under a level of water. So you're going to wind up with a lot of water that's too toxic to drink. And that's what's happening in California and in other cities. State Farm and Allstate are pulling out of California as we speak. They've decided it's too expensive to insure the folks in the lower and the middle classes and even the upper classes, because some of the hills in California where houses are perched are coming off of that perch. So it's not safe to insure them. They don't have enough money to protect ordinary citizens. And citizens can't survive. The cost of living keeps going up for the lower and the middle classes. They can't afford the electric bills to keep on air conditioning. And those are the folks who are lucky because they've got air conditioning. What's happening to everyone who doesn't have air conditioning? In Europe alone last year, and they have less than our population, they recorded 61,000 deaths from the heat. In normal heat years, we'd lose close to 1,000 people in many of our cities. What is happening now? Texas recorded 1 death from heat. Who knows how many other folks have perished in America? So people can't afford the rising fuel costs or energy costs for air conditioning when they're lucky. They can't afford their water bills either, because Californians pay for water. And because the water is toxic in a lot of places when it comes out of the tap, they got to supplement their water bills with bottled water. So it is a lose-lose for almost 300 million people. Sure, they say there are a lot of jobs in America, but we need to create jobs that will fix our infrastructure in a hurry and innovate climate mitigation strategies. All over the world, everyone should be invested in dispensing with fossil fuels, reclaiming subsidies, and now subsidizing renewable energy. When I hear that it's too expensive to mine for lithium or for other rare earths, I keep saying to myself, why aren't we recycling our batteries? You recycle batteries, you got lithium. I don't understand. Mining is not the way forward because it depends upon corporations fracking, destroying the earth, and you know and I know that corporations are not accountable. And so when they'll mine, you're not going to have clean water. There's no way, because they're not responsible and there is no regulation. So we have to deal with what is, not what we'd like. Sure, I'd like them all to be accountable. I'd like Congress to be educated and understand technology and science and math. I'd like to see every congressman with not only degrees because they're legacy kids, but degrees that have meaning. I think we've denigrated the experts enough. We need experts in science. We need a global panel of climate dedicated scientists and policymakers so that we can start implementing renewables now, so we can go to the fourth generation nuclear power plants. And I'm still advocating for thorium until somebody tells me the real reason that thorium is not an acceptable alternative fuel, because it would literally use up all of our spent plutonium and uranium. We wouldn't have to bury it anymore. So, as far as I'm concerned, the number one issue in the world today is climate change, climate extremes. Fossil fuel companies, utility companies, agricultural companies, they gotta change, because pretty soon we're not gonna have crops. And what do you think will cost? We won't have food. Do you think that you're not gonna have a national security problem when folks are scrambling to eat and survive? It's going to be dreadful. How many billions have to die before we change? I know change is hard. I've been trying all my life to be the best version of who I can be. I don't know if I've achieved it or not, but I know that I care. I care about people. I have children. I have grandchildren. And if I'm lucky, I might even have great-grandchildren, because my youngest grandchild just became engaged. So I'm excited about our future, and I'd like you to be equally excited. Let's be realistic, folks. We need regulations. No corporation is accountable without them. I'd like to see climate mitigation. I already know I can't adapt. When I go out in the heat for more than a couple of hours in the morning or the evening, all I feel like doing is watching old movies or Hallmark. And that's how everyone must feel. You want to increase productivity? Increase it the right way, by all of us working on an emergency basis to clean up our air and our water and make all our resources readily available once again. So, take care, everyone. That's my message for today. See ya next week.